I posted this morning, the Jets should fire Gregg Williams, defensive coordinator, immediately, and they did. Abracadabra only has one bullet, though, unfortunately. I've tried. It's not my day. It was just for that fine sliver of time. And I don't want to make light of the guy getting fired, but you know what, Shereen? This is a big boy league. He deserved it for what he did yesterday. Without question, he deserved to be gone today.
I'm just questioning if it was immediate. Was that immediate? A few hours later?
It wasn't. It was within 90 minutes. It was within 90 minutes.
Okay. All right.
And so they had to make the decision.
Right,
they had to see what I posted. And they all read PFT. I mean, this is one area where I am being serious. If we had the saturation level among the fan base that we had among the teams and the coaches and the agents and the players and everyone else connected to the game, I could retire, frankly. And then we wouldn't have the saturation unless whoever takes over for me is able to get that saturation. But they all read it. And I suspect that the decision may have already been made, but I'm sure they saw it there in New York. And we were just reflecting the sense that was out there. People were saying, this guy has to go. What are you doing? You don't call an all-out blitz with the game on the line. Anybody that's ever played any football, watched any football, played any Madden, knows that in that situation, 13 seconds left, the offense has no timeouts. They're on your 46-yard line. You defend the end zone. You defend the goal line. You don't send 8 guys to prove some stupid point and take one last shot at the quarterback and let an undrafted rookie corner cover a first-round receiver who ran a 4.28. I gave Lamar Jackson, the cornerback, not the quarterback, a hard time yesterday for biting on the double move. Look, he had to bite on the double move because he had no one behind him. If they hit Henry Ruggs with a quick pass, he's gone, potentially, because there's no one back there to tackle him. So Lamar Jackson was left on an island, and it's definitely not Lamar Island like it was Revis Island, and that was that for the Jets, and that's that for Gregg Williams, and he got what he deserved. And the other thing, too, is I think it shattered the confidence in Gregg Williams internally to the point where if they want to win a game the rest of the way, Shereen, they had to move on from him.
Yeah, no question, Mike. And they should have made the decision right after the game. I mean, this is one you don't need to think about. I know Sims called it Dumb and Dumber. I will call it dumbest because it is absolutely, in my almost 30 years of covering this league, the dumbest play call I have ever seen. And I was trying to think of some that were dumber, and the only one that came to mind right away was the Barry Switzer one on 4th down. And the Eagles called a timeout after stopping the Cowboys on the Emmitt Smith run, and he runs the exact same play again after the timeout, and they're stopped again. And that was Dumb and Dumber at the time. But this was dumbest, Mike. I've never seen a dumber. You have the game won. Like, that's the only way you lose the game. There's one way you lose the game. And it made me question, did Gregg Williams want out? But if he wanted out, you know what? He's not only out of the Jets, he never gets another coaching opportunity after that play call. I guarantee you. And it's about time, frankly, for what he's done in the NFL, which is next to nothing. And how he keeps getting coaching jobs, I don't know. But he does continue to get coaching jobs, even after what happened in New Orleans. And his career, frankly, should have been over after that.
I never thought he'd be back after that, primarily and fundamentally because he committed what I thought was the unforgivable sin of dropping the dime on one of his players. He submitted a written affidavit saying that Jonathan Vilma did indeed offer $10,000 to anyone that knocked Brett Favre out of the 2009 NFC Championship game. Once word of that emerged, I thought they would never accept him in a locker room again. And then I thought this guy must be one of the great defensive tacticians of all time to keep getting hired and hired and hired and hired. Well, he's not, and he's gone, and it's done, and it's over. And maybe it was deliberate to sabotage Adam Gase. Maybe he did want out. Maybe he wanted to go out in blaze of glory. Maybe it was just his ego taking over. Whatever it was, Shereen, the most close comparison I came up with is this is a defensive version of the Miracle in the Meadowlands with Joe Pisarcik and Larry Zonka with the fumbled handoff, and Herm Edwards scoops it up and scores. Not that, that revolutionized offense in that situation and introduced the victory formation, which everyone uses now, taking a knee instead of handing off as you're trying to bleed the clock, and you know that the other side can't stop the clock, and you can just get out of there with 2 or 3 kneel downs. Everybody already knew you cover and defend the end zone. So it's not like this is going to revolutionize anything. This is like the Miracle in the Meadowlands happening now. This is the equivalent of the attempted handoff instead of victory formation. That's what this is.
No question, Mike. And that's probably the best example of a dumb play call that ended up costing a team a game. And we all remember that one. But you're right. This isn't going to change anything. Teams know how to defend when there are seconds left in a game and the other team has no timeouts and they're at midfield and they're in need of a touchdown. I mean, it's simple. It's not that hard to do unless you get beat on a Hail Mary, something like the Bills got beat on with DeAndre Hopkins making just a great play, but at least they had it defended. They got beat on that, but they had it defended. You know how to defend the Raiders in this situation, and you failed to do it. But, Mike, also, Adam Gase, I think, is getting off too easy on this. You know, I think he bears some responsibility. He is the head coach. He can't overrule the defensive coordinator, the play caller, if it's him or whoever it is. He can overrule that. He ultimately is in charge of this team. And he said he wishes now that he had called timeout or overruled in that situation. He didn't. But he does bear blame for letting that play out as it did.
This is one of the problems of a coach who is an expert in one side of the ball delegating half of the game, at least as it relates to the play from scrimmage, not special teams, but half of the game gets completely and totally not delegated, but abdicated to another coach. We see Mike Zimmer do it in Minnesota with his offensive guy. We see offensive coaches do it with their defensive coordinator. When you have structured this as you're basically the head coach of the defense, the pieces aren't there. The foundation isn't there to intervene when something stupid like this is about to happen. It's trying to stretch one of those brand new big rubber bands that has never been stretched before. You've never done it. It's not what you do. So in that moment, all of a sudden, you're like, wait, holy crap, the guy that I've given the keys to the car to is about to drive the car off the cliff. What do I do? Well, what can you do? If you've never stopped him before from driving it into a tree or driving it off the road or driving it anywhere, it's an awkward spot. You haven't created a system where you've got that ability to say, time out, what the hell are you thinking? And, I think in that moment, and you're in the crucible and everything's happening fast, and you figure, what the hell? Let's go see. Let's see what happens. Maybe we'll get lucky here. I just think it's a lot in real time, in the moment, to harness. And it's a product of creating a situation where you delegate and abdicate so much responsibility of the team to one person. And if we've learned one thing about Gregg Williams over the years, he's the last person you want to abdicate responsibility for half of your team to. So that's why it blew up in Adam Gase's face. Let's hear from Adam Gase earlier today talking about the decision to politely ask Gregg Williams to get the hell out of here.
Did you agree with his decision last night on the blitz call at the end of the game, and how much factored into that call factored into your decision?
So I obviously wasn't happy about that call. And, that was a heartbreaking way for our guys to lose the game. So for that to happen in that situation, it's just we can't have that happen.
That was such a long pause. Bill Belichick said, man, that's a long pause from Adam Gase. But look, it's all crumbling. And if he wants to escape the fate that befell Rod Marinelli in 2008, Hugh Jackson in 2017, you got to get Williams out of there. You've got to. Because Williams' name doesn't go on the 0-16 trophy. Gase's name does. And here's the best example of that, Shireen. I had to go back and refresh my memory on whether or not Gregg Williams was the defensive coordinator of the 2017 Browns. I thought, there's no way. There's no way. I'd remember that, right? No, you think winless head coach. Winless head coach. Not coordinators. Not anybody but head coach. And Gregg Williams, and I think at some level, the argument for keeping him is, you're staying here with me. You're going down. I'm going down with the ship. And you're going down with the ship, too. You're not getting out of it this easy, Greg. You're going to have 2 0-16s. They may not remember one. They're going to remember 2.
And I think they remember Gregg Williams now, Mike. He has sealed his fate with that for sure. I found an interesting stat. ESPN had this stat. I thought it was very interesting. There have been 252 plays in a similar situation as the Jets had on Sunday over the last 15 years, and this was the only time that a defensive coordinator sent 6 or more pass rushers. I just thought it was a fantastic stat, and it just shows you how bad that play call was, that the fact that no other defensive coordinator has done that in the history of the game. And this is a guy, Mike, when you look at his 22 years career as a defensive coordinator or a head coach overseeing the defense, only 4 times have they finished in the top 10 and top 5 in yards allowed, only 3 times in points allowed. It's not like he's a great defensive coordinator. So stop giving him jobs. He can't get the job done. Go find somebody else to coach your defense. And the Jets now have done that, but it's going to be way too late for Adam Gase and this staff. They will be gone at season's end. The good thing for Jets fans, though, Mike, they retained the #1 overall draft pick, and they're going to have a new coaching staff and maybe some new hope after this year.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.